brought to you by Emergency Veterinary Service.
Thanks for keeping it here at Midday. We are taking your questions now for veterinarian Ryan Steen. You brought Mowgli with you today. Yep. Adorable.
Yep, this is Mowgli. He's a mixed breed terrier mix, 7 months old, neutered, and looking for a home. So people can call out to Cedar Rapids Animal Control and learn about him and others. And
really a mixed, an interesting breed. Can we show the crazy tail?
Got the curly tail there, a little bit of everything. So.
Adorable. We got to talk about the heat. I know we've probably done this, I don't know how many times already this year, but it's worth repeating, especially on what is forecasted to be, anyway, the hottest day of the year. I know you're antsy. I know. It's only a couple of minutes, I promise. But what are some tips you have to just keeping your dogs cool if they have to be outside? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's moving air. I mean, you know, when it's so stagnant, that's when it's really difficult. I mean, they must have shade. They must have shade and some moving air, and obviously fresh water. I mean, those are, I think, the keys. Anytime you can have a fan going, even if you can have a little bit of water vapor, that kind of a thing going at them too, would be helpful to cool down the air temperature. But when possible, with these extreme temperatures, going inside is really a good idea.
Shade and air conditioning, the combo would be really helpful. Yeah. Joanne, I believe, is waiting on the line with a question. Go ahead. Oh, no question. Well, we did have a caller earlier who had some concerns that her dog, it was an older dog, about 7 or 8, who was repeatedly vomiting, and what might be the cause behind that. At what point do you need to check with your vet about something like that?
Well, I think if it's happening consistently. It's difficult sometimes to identify a vomiting cause if it's very infrequent, and in many cases it's not anything necessarily to be too terribly concerned about. But if it's happening on a consistent basis, you know, multiple times a week, then I think it needs to be evaluated. A lot of dogs who vomit, there is a syndrome called Billis vomiting syndrome, where dogs who vomit first thing in the morning. A lot of people will talk about that, where before they have their morning meal. That's a fairly straightforward thing to correct. Usually just a meal right before bed, or even a little Pepsid AC right before bed can settle that down. But if it's anything beyond that, we usually need to take a look, and sometimes have to do some lab work or x-rays to get to the bottom of it.
I've always heard too, you're supposed to pull the water dish if your dog's vomiting. Is that true?
Well, in a short term, yeah. I mean, if you know, you have if your dog just has a little viral thing going on, or it has some vomiting, you know, a little burst of vomiting, then yeah, pulling the water and pulling the food, let things settle down, is a good idea. But if you're having to pull the food pull the water multiple times, then it's time to get to the bottom of it.
Especially on a day like today, when hydration is key.
Wouldn't want to pull the water very long today, that's for sure.
All right. Well, veterinarian Ryan Steen, thanks so much for coming in today. Does Mowgli want to come back for one more appearance? Can we bring Mowgli back in? This little guy's adorable. We had a little bit of time left. Come here. Okay, Cedar Rapids Animal Control, right? If we're interested in Mowgli, a really cute little dog, very curious, and look at those ears. How could you say no to that? Thank you so much again for coming in
You're
today.
very welcome.
And coming up tomorrow, our financial expert will be in to talk about securing your financial future. Stay with us here on your 24-hour news source, KCRG-TV9.